Welcome everyone. In this presentation, we are going to tackle one of the most important classification algorithms in machine learning, logistic regression. Despite its name, logistic regression is actually used for classification, not regression. By the end of this video, you'll know how to predict whether a customer will become a premium member based on their spending habits. Let's start by importing our essential libraries. We'll need pandas for data manipulation, scikit-learn for our machine learning models, and we'll import train, test, split to properly partition our data. Notice we are importing logistic regression from sklearn linear model. Even though it's called regression, remember this is our classification workhorse. We're working with the data from a fitness center. Our goal is to predict which members will upgrade to premium membership based on their monthly spending. Let's load and examine the data. So that's what we do here. Here's a critical detail. Notice the double brackets around monthly spending. This keeps X as a data frame rather than a series, which scikit-learn requires. It's common gotcha that trips up many beginners. Before we train our model, we must split our data. So that's training and testing on the same data is like grading your own homework. You'll always think you did great, but you won't know if you actually learned anything. So what we're going to do here is create the training and validation set that is here, with training set having 60% of the data and testing set having 40% of the data. So it's a 60-40 split. The random state here ensures reproducibility. Every time we run this code with random state equals 1, we get the exact same split. Now for the actual logistic regression, pay attention to these parameters. They're important. So we have this code here, which is essentially having the parameters that we are going to specify. Let me explain these parameters. The C value here of 1E42, that is 1 followed by 42 zeros, essentially turns off regularization. Normally, regularization prevents overfitting by penalizing large coefficients. But for teaching purposes, we want to see the pure logistic regression coefficients without any shrinkage. So that's why we kept that there. Once we run this model, we will be able to see what the results of this regression model is. So I'm going to run it and we'll see what the coefficients look like. So that's giving us the coefficient of 0.04, means that for every additional dollar spent monthly, the log odds of becoming a premium member increases by 0.04. The negative intercept of minus 6.23 means that at zero spending, the probability of premium membership is very low, which makes intuitive sense. Now we set up some visualization. The beauty of logistic regression is its famous S-shaped curve. Let's visualize how spending relates to membership probability. So that's what we're going to do here. We're creating 300 evenly spaced points across the spending range to get a smooth curve. So that's what we see here, 300. The predict proba, this particular code that we see here, which this is basically giving us probabilities for both classes. We take index equals 1 for the probability of being a premium member. So that's what this entire code is trying to do. This is equal to 1. This one gives us the probability of being a premium member, and that's your method which gives us probabilities. So if we create the plot, let's click this and take a look at how the plot looks like. Before we go there, we can also see here that there are some visualization and plotting commands here, which makes the plot look better with all the labels and everything. So that's this particular part of the code. So let's click that and we can see this beautiful S curve. At low spending levels, say under $100, the probability stays near 0. As spending increases, we hit this steep transition zone, this particular zone, where small increases in spending dramatically increases the probability. Then at high spending levels, the curve flattens again near 1.0. Right? So it's basically going to flatten later. This is the sigmoid function in action. It naturally bounds our predictions between 0 and 1. The gray dots show our actual data point. They can only be 0 or 1. The curve shows our model's predicted probability at each spending level. See how the curve fits through the transition from non-premium to premium members. Now, one predictor is nice for learning, but real-world models use multiple features. Let's build a more comprehensive model, but first we need to handle some data preparation. So that's what we're going to do here. We've imported all that we need, and then we go down, and this is where we are going to do some data preparation. We drop member ID and facility code, these two variables, because they are identifiers, not predictive features. We also rename columns to remove all the spaces that we might have. This makes our code cleaner. We create dummy variables, especially for this particular variable, that is fitness level, which is categorical. It has 3 categories: beginner level, intermediate, and advanced. And logistic regression needs numeric inputs, so we use dummy variables to convert these categories to numbers. That's what we are doing here. And then once that has been done, the last line where we say drop first equals true parameter, this is critical. With 3 fitness levels, we only need 2 dummy variables. If fitness intermediate and fitness advanced are both 0, that means the person is a beginner. This is called the reference category, and it prevents multicollinearity. Now, fitting the multiple regression model, the logistic regression model with multiple predictors that we have here, and that's the step that we are going to take, where we also ensure that we split the data into train and validation set, and we specify the parameters for the logistic model. So this one is essentially our Y variable. These are the X variables. So everything other than the premium member that we have just created up there in our columns is going to be our predictor variables. Once that is done, then we run the model, and then this is our logistic regression fit, and then we are going to do that for the training set. We're going to throw out the results of this model, both the intercept and coefficient, as well as the AIC, which tells us how good the model is. Lower value of AIC is better. So this gives us the intercept as well as the coefficients. The intercept at minus 10.686, and then for age, as the age goes up, the likelihood of becoming a premium member, years active, and monthly spending of the member, household size of that member, weekly hours they spend in the fitness center, etc. So that's what we get here, and the AIC is 221.57. Now, once that has been done, we are now ready to do some more work where we will make some predictions and look for how well the predictions are for this model. Right, so we're going to first create a data frame with actual values and predicted probabilities for our members in the data set. So that's something which we will create here. So this is the data frame that we are creating, logit result, which has both the actual values and the predicted probabilities. And then what we will do is determine whether we have predicted correctly or not. And if it's not correctly done, then what kind of error it is. Is it a false positive? Is it a false negative? So we could have either of those scenarios. A false positive is when the actual situation is that the member is not a premium member. We have predicted it to be 1, then it's a false positive. And if it's the other way around, actual member is actually a premium member and we are predicting that they will not be a premium member, that would be a false negative. So we will run this first to just define all these things, the error types. And then we are going to sample 3 correct predictions, 1 false negative prediction and 1 false positive prediction. And then that's basically all the interesting cases that we have, and we combine them and concatenate them together in these 3 sets. So we will have 5 samples that we have taken, and these are randomly picked. So every time we run this, we will get different sets of customers in terms of correct prediction, false negative one, and false positive one. So let's run this code here, and we can see here that we have found these 5 customer numbers, where these are the actual categorization of that member, and this is what we had predicted. So we had 3 correct predictions. We have 1 false negative and 1 false positive. This is based on a cutoff of greater than 0.5. Greater than or equal to 0.5. So if it's greater than or equal to 0.5, we predict it to be a 1. A member will be a premium member. And if it's less than 0.5, we predict that the member will be a 0. So it's these 3 zeros and this one is a 1. So that's an example of a scenario which we have here. So that's what our prediction is. Now the next step is to go further and look at some accuracy score, precision, accuracy, recall, because these are the outputs that could be helpful to understand how well we have done in predicting this. Right, so that's what we are going to do as a next step in terms of our predictive power of this model. So this code here, we are going to import all those different metrics that we might be interested in: accuracy score, precision, recall, F1 score, confusion matrix, and classification report. We define them here with these names. Confusion matrix, we're just bringing that model and using the y true and y predict. And we do the same thing for accuracy, precision, recall, F1. And then we want to print them once the model is run here. The confusion matrix also, we want to show what that looks like. And this one then looks at the table format, how we're going to set the table up, how it should look like in terms of label width and column width, etc. So once this is done and we are doing this confusion matrix for the training and the validation set. So that's what training set and validation set is. We can see what the results look like. So here are our confusion matrix for training set and for the validation set. Accuracy at 0.9370 for the training set and 0.9355, very close to training set. So it's a very good model. And the precision and recall and F1 score are also very informative. Now it's important to recognize that just looking at accuracy is not sufficient when we are doing some of these kinds of classification, because sometimes it's important to avoid false negatives more than just ensuring that we have highly accurate scores. Sometimes it's important to reduce the false positives. So those are specific business context in which we have to ensure that the precision and recall values are also quite high. Having very high accuracy and relatively low recall can sometimes be not such a great scenario to be in. Now, accuracy is nice for data scientists, but business stakeholders want to know, if I can only contact 10% of customers or 20% of customers, how many premium conversions will I capture? Because most of the time businesses have resource constraint and they have to contact a certain limited number of customers. That's where gains and lift charts come in, and that's what we're going to do here. So this code is going to create the gains chart and lift chart, we're going to first define our logistic result, sorted values based on the probability. We're going to define it as DF. We're going to call it later in this model. We also define gains chart, which is the chart for which we have to create a figure. So this is basically the code that creates that gains chart over here. And then the lift chart basically is a decide lift chart, which puts the values in 10% categories and then tries to create a sort of a bar chart. So this will now define lift chart and gains chart, and as we go down we also have the plot. So we will just plot this gains chart and lift chart, and then once that is plotted we can see how they look like. So I'm going to enter this over here, and we can see here the cumulative gains chart and lift chart helps us understand how many customers we will gain if we were to target based on this model. So as compared to random selection, this model has a 6.4 times more number of customers that we will correctly predict who might go for premium membership. So that's useful. And gains chart, more it is towards the y-axis, closer to the y-axis, better it is. So in this one we can see that this model looks like a decent model with that dotted line here, which is the random selection of the customer, and this blue line is what the model does. So farther away from this diagonal it is, the better the model is. So with that we have covered logistic regression and how we can do this with Python. I hope you found this useful. Thank you.